Might sound hyperbolic, but we have never seen an NFL season like this.
Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area.
And what did Joe Flacco end up doing to the Steelers? Yep, just when we all bought into the Steelers.
It was shocking to me.
It is shocking. That soundbite can be applied to basically every single week of football in the year of our Antichrist 2025. We're a little more than a third of the way through the NFL season, and there is not a single team that's established themselves as a clear favorite in the NFC or AFC to become the Super Bowl favorites.
It was shocking to me.
Some will try and tell you this is because we just have a bunch of mediocre-ass teams. Maybe you're right. But in a true it could be anybody's season, I love what's happening in the NFL this year. Predictability in sports forces many fans to lose interest. Can't do that right now. This year alone, we've watched the defending Super Bowl champs drop multiple games, including an ass-kicking by a rookie and their former doormat Giants. The most injured team I have ever seen, the 49ers, have managed to stay atop the NFC West. For now, the Chiefs might be in the process of reasserting their dominance, but the fact that they had more losses by week 5 than they did in all of 2024 is crazy. Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence are leading two of the top teams in the NFL. The Colts and Jaguars. The Colts and fucking Jags could be fighting for the 1 seed in the AFC.
It was shocking to me.
It's been a very long time since we've seen an NFL season like this, and today I want to explain just how magical it is and why you should cherish what you're witnessing and why it's outpacing other crazy seasons like 99, 06, and 2017 in terms of it really being anybody's year. This is That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Perna. Please subscribe here. Would love to get to 810,000 subs by the end of October. Can we do it? Hey, I'm back in the winners column today with my sponsor, Prize Picks. Use my code TGS. We're 860 signups away from 3,000. If I hit 6K by the Super Bowl, I'll go to KC. I'm going to spend an ungodly amount of money at that disgusting Mahomes and Kelsey's restaurant and make a little video about it. Maybe I'll take the TGS crew as we dine in hell for your amusement. Now, the NBA season's starting soon, and Prize Picks has a max discount for Stephen Curry. Use that to build a lineup if you would like. I really believe Curry can get a half point, guys. I do. I think he can do it. So use my code TGS, make a $5 deposit, and Prize Picks going to give you $50 in lineups so you can build one just like this. If you follow me there, you can see my lineups. These are my picks for the Broncos game. I just copied Pamela's lineup this week. Again, it's a long shot, Pamela, but maybe we'll see if we win next week. And God bless your usernames. They are getting out of control. We got Go F Thyself KC, Perna's grandpa. Yes, thank you for watching Power Rankings. I believe in Perna. You're my dad. Dak Shots. And a Steven Hauschka reference? Man. Prize Picks, link in the description, code TGS. When a simple tweet gets over 50,000 likes, you might be on to a good observation. For that to be true, though, you need to understand the rarity we are witnessing. If I can channel my inner Prince, let's party like it's 1999. Where we had one of the stranger NFL seasons of all time. The back-to-back Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos fell to 6-10 after Elway retired, blasting the door wide open for the unlikeliest championship weekend in our lifetimes. Steve McNair bested Mark Brunell in the AFC, and later the out-of-nowhere Rams, led by notorious shoplifter Kurt Warner, edged Sean King's Buccaneers, providing the football world with an unexpected and excellent Super Bowl matchup. 7 years later, the NFC Championship between the Saints and the Bears was as random as it got. Chicago made it all the way to the rain-soaked Super Bowl in Miami, where Peyton Manning slayed the dragon and earned his first ring. Even in 2017, we were closer than we remember to getting a Super Bowl matchup where Nick Foles and Blake Bortles might have gone head-to-head. God, that would have been so much fun. Equally as fun, though, was watching a backup quarterback in Nick Foles upset the Patriots in the Super Bowl and win MVP. The championship game featured Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, Nick Foles, and Tom Brady. 3 of those quarterbacks would never get back to that mark. For 2017, though, the Patriots reaching the Super Bowl, despite Myles Jack not being down, ruined the potential for an all-time season. What I'm trying to say is that the NFL is so often predictable, but about once a decade, we get a total monkey wrench of a season. A lot can change, but we're already getting signs that this is indeed one of those great, glorious years. There's no better example of how unpredictable this 2025 season has been than my own stupid video. In September, I posted about how bad the Titans, Panthers, Jets, Texans, and Saints all looked. I gave the Saints some props, but every single one of those teams won that same weekend, except for the Jets, who I thought were playing the best of the shitty teams. The only team that didn't let me down, really, at the time, was the Bengals. That's changing. The Panthers are heating up. The Texans have the best scoring defense in the NFL right now. Let's not forget, though, that the Cowboys actually trading Micah Parsons right before the season started was batshit crazy. Literally nobody does that with their premier edge rushers, who are also in their prime. We never see teams trade away guys like Micah Parsons when it's the most appropriate time to pay guys like Micah Parsons. One of the few things that makes sense is the Cowboys defense does suck without Micah Parsons.
He just pissed on us right and left. There's pee everywhere. It just stinks in Dallas.
I think we have to go all the way back to the draft, though, which was the first sign that we all knew nothing. We were told Shedeur Sanders was a first-round quarterback. We were told he would be the second quarterback off the board. Now, there were rumors leading up to the draft that teams were not high on him, but pre-draft information is always dangerous. When he fell all the way to the 5th round, where the Browns, who already drafted a quarterback, selected him, that was unprecedented, okay? Quite literally, we have never seen that shit. And now there's a race between my Shedeur Sanders video and our 90s Cowboys video for my next video to hit 1 million views. You can decide which one does. The Browns quarterback situation, also very unique, right? They had 5 quarterbacks on roster in the preseason. They have traded away Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. They released Tyler Huntley and now have 2 rookies manning the fort while Deshaun Watson tries to rehab from injury without the benefit of human touch. Good luck, Deshaun, you sick pervert. There are simply more surprising teams this year than ever, and that has made watching every game more fun. They include, for different reasons, the Colts, the Bucks, the Jags, Niners, Seahawks, Steelers, Ravens, Eagles, Bears, Falcons, Bengals, with Flacco. Okay, pretty much the entire league. Here's another anomaly. Thursday night football has been awesome this season. Whether that was the Cardinals clawing their way back into the game and nearly defeating the Seahawks, or McCorkle Jones getting pulverized like a fucking heavy bag after seeing a dead body to upset the Rams, the Giants playing like the most entertaining team in football to defeat their tormentors by 2 scores. Many of us like the New York Giants draft, right? But to see them start to rectify their Saquon and Daniel Jones mistakes so quickly and so shirtlessly has exceeded our expectations. And even the icy hot bowl between Flacco and Rodgers turned into a bona fide Metamucil-fueled shootout. Here's why 2025 appears to be chaos on steroids. Every time something starts to appear to be true, it changes. There may be no better example of that than the Panthers and Falcons. I do not recall ever seeing an 0-2 team like Carolina shut out a division rival 30-0. and then proceed to have their asses kicked 42-13 the following week, and then go on to win their next 2 games via a running back named Rico Dowdle inserting himself into the record books, churning out over 200 yards from scrimmage in each performance.
It was shocking to me.
Are the Panthers good? It's almost the middle of the season, and I still don't fucking know. We should have been on to Rico, though, as he had 400-yard games in the final 6 last year in Dallas, but he flew way under the radar because Dallas let him walk, and then he was second on the Panthers depth chart, so not even the guys who employ him knew he was that good. You know what else I don't know? How good the dirty Falcon birds are. One of the most mind-boggling things developing is the Falcons after getting goose-egged. Wait, I said that wrong. After getting goose egg big boot.
Imika Egbegbo, Imika Egbegbo, Imika Egbegbo.
They went on to immediately best the Bills and Commanders after getting shut out. 2 teams that were in the championship games last season. I do not recall teams suddenly getting better after a shutout. Atlanta also famously has had one of the worst pass rushing defenses of the last decade. That's predictable. In a couple primetime games in 2025, though, they collected 10 sacks and 17 QB hits. Their defense went from a liability to one of the best in a single offseason. Staying in the South, the Saints may have found their quarterback of the future, and it's not the guy they drafted atop the 2nd round. I haven't heard a single NFL pundit even utter the words Tyler Shuck since the season kicked off in September. And not just because nobody knows how to pronounce his name when they look at the spelling. It's because Spencer Rattler, with a 1-5 record, has not been the reason the Saints suck. Is Spencer Rattler a franchise QB? Nobody knows, but in the year of our Antichrist, the man named after a snake might be him. Now, I knew Baker Mayfield was good. I loved Baker already, and I assumed he would be very good this season, but his MVP caliber performance is really quite special. My only fear is that Baker needs his top receivers to get hurt every week to fuel his dominance. Baker's odds to win the award prior to the season, plus 3,000. If he wins MVP, it is a rare achievement unlocked. Only Peyton Manning has won MVP after moving on from his original team. When the Seahawks traded Geno Smith and acquired Sam Darnold, most saw that as a lateral move. Hell, most people thought the Raiders won that trade and that Sam Darnold was the quarterback we witnessed getting worked in the final 2 weeks of 2024 and not the really good QB he was for the first 15 weeks. Let me tell football fans something. You never win a quarterback trade with the Seahawks. The Broncos are getting Russell Wilson! Suck it, haters! Let me tell you something else. When you put on that Raiders helmet, something bad happens to your brain. Even Antonio Brown knew that. Even AB knew. You simply forget how to play quarterback if you're a Raider. And somehow, all of that cheating Tom Brady's been doing as an announcer / team owner is keeping the Raiders exactly the same. Sam Darnold has been leaps and bounds better than Geno, and absolutely nobody predicted Geno Smith would come in and immediately take a commanding lead for interceptions on the season. Nor did anyone predict Drake Maye to have the best sophomore season of the 2024 quarterback draft class. Okay, well, Patriots fans said that shit all offseason. New England, though, has a real shot to win the division, and Drake Maye is the reason. Well, Maye and Vrabel, but the Bills as a wild card team? That's a very real sentence we may be saying in January, and not a hosting wild card team, okay? Caleb Williams is playing second best as Nix and Daniels are sort of treading water right now, flirting with the word regression. The Jaguars hired offensive guru Liam Cohen, and they instantly have the most opportunistic defense in the NFL. The Chargers have held the top spot in the West despite devastating injuries to their top 2 tackles. Guys, we're all over the map this season. The Chicago Bears offseason overhaul plan, it's going according to plan. That is not normal.
Being normal is vastly overrated.
Ben Johnson is the right head coach for the Chicago Bears. They nailed their coach hiring. That is the first sign of the apocalypse. Their offense has the second most big plays this season. A big jump from being dead fucking last in 2024 around this same time. The most diabolically infuriating division, though, has to be the AFC North. We went into this season, like every season, believing that the two northern divisions would once again be the toughest groups in the NFL. The NFC kept up their part of the bargain, but that was decidedly not the case in the AFC. The Bengals, Browns, Ravens have now combined for a 5-14 record. No one would have guessed that, outside of, the Browns, obviously. Now the Steelers are the team to beat.
About the mobility of Aaron Rodgers. About the mobility of Aaron Rodgers. Mobility of Aaron Rodgers. Mobility.
They're not only running roughshod through their division, but are now competing with the Colts. The Colts in the AFC is the sentence we had in this show until Joe Flacco outplayed Aaron Rodgers in prime time and handed the Steelers their second loss of the season. The Steelers defense was playing great. They were second in sacks. And out of nowhere, Joe Flacco quite literally had the best pass blocking protection he's had since 2018. What? What is going on? The Bengals lost Joe Burrow. The Ravens lost Lamar Jackson. The Browns look so fucking dumb because they lost Joe Flacco willingly, and he confirmed one of the very few truths of the season. The Browns are still ass, and they are run like ass.
And if you can't hear it, the crowd is saying, "Thank you, Cleveland."
The Browns are ass, and Flacco looked old in Indy last year and worse in Cleveland this year. Then he joins the Bengals and makes history. Through 2 games, Joe Flacco ripped 550 passing yards, 5 passing TDs, 0 picks, a 65 completion clip, and nobody else has ever done that in their first 2 starts with the new team. And we all glazed over the Joe Flacco in-season interdivision trade. But guys, that stuff never, ever happens. And nobody pontificated on that better than Mike Tomlin.
Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area.
Now, it was going to happen regardless of the trade, but yes, 2 40-year-old quarterbacks starting against each other has only occurred one other time, when Breeze and Brady met that geriatric mark a few years ago. Thank you, Joe and Aaron, for making it awesome, and for making all of us middle-aged, washed-up men still believe we can ball with the youngins. The Bengals are fielding one of the worst scoring defenses, while the Ravens are the worst scoring defense. We can usually pencil in the Ravens as a top 10 D, and I don't think anyone saw them falling off a cliff like they have. Their potential exclusion from the playoffs is having ripple effects all over the conference, and the Ravens defense was sucking before all of those injuries. Saquon Barkley's regression is shocking.
It was shocking to me.
Oh, Saquon, why, oh why did you have to pose for the Madden cover? Is there not enough data that EA's headquarters are built atop an ancient Indian burial ground, Saquon? Did Christian McCaffrey's 2024 season not show you that the Madden curse is still alive and well? Saquon famously rushed for 2,005 yards in 16 games last year, won the Super Bowl with a dominant postseason stretch, and is currently averaging under 3.5 yards per carry. The leading rusher from a year ago is now 22nd in that category, and we don't know why. We don't have a good reason. The Eagles' offensive line has not changed. He's still just 28 years young, and he's not working with a serious injury that we're aware of. The only reasonable explanation is the dreaded fucking Madden curse. Oh, and the slowest back in the NFL draft, Cam Skadaboo, has more rushing yards as a New York Giant than Saquon Barkley right now. All of the blocked field goals, another rarity. Through 6 weeks, there have been 15 blocked field goals or extra points, the most at this point in the season since 2009. There might be a reason for that. It's not just random. Teams are picking up on tendencies from long snappers to get a jump on field goals, and it's resulting in absolute chaos. The Bears blocked a potential game winner in Vegas, and here's how they did it.
Throughout the week, Scott Daly had given us a little tip with the snapper. He would move the ball right before he would snap it. I got a good jump.
I'm honestly glad this is happening. As kickers get better and better, hitting from 60-plus yards with ease, it's good that defenses have leveled out the playing field to make kicks a little less of a sure thing. It also makes me feel better about those fascist fucking Chiefs blocking the Broncos game winner a year ago. The Broncos sack pace. This is historic. The 2024 Broncos dropped opposing QB 63 times, best in the NFL and best in the history of a franchise that's had a rich tradition of dominating defenses. That's looking like child's play compared to this year. Denver's entered the Jokic quadrant on defense. Through just 6 games, the Broncos defense has recorded 30 sacks, including their 9-sack onslaught against Justin Fields in London. Vance Joseph might be the best at dialing up blitzes in the NFL because here are some random Broncos that have multiple sacks. Justin Stranad has 3.5. Jaquan McMillan, a nickel corner, has 2. And Ioma Owuzurike, a reserve defensive tackle who was suspended a year for sports betting, also has a pair of sacks. 12 Broncos have recorded at least a half a sack this year. And only 2 other defenses have ever recorded 5 sacks in 5 games through its first 7. The 2000 Buccaneers and the 86 Broncos. Denver is on pace for 85 sacks, which would break the NFL record currently held by the 84 Bears, who had 72. No one wants to drop back against these Broncos. The tweak to the kickoff rule is forcing an astronomical increase in kick returns. Moving touchbacks to the 35 has increased the return rate by over 50%. That in and of itself has made this season feel really different when you just watch the games. Visually, it's different. Teams are starting on average at the 30.8 yard line, the best field position it's been since 2005, when teams were running their first plays from the 31.2 yard line on average. This also means yards are down by about 15 from a year ago. It's actually the lowest average yardage total since 2006, another weird year I mentioned. Points per game are up. It's the 4th highest scoring season in NFL history, if you were wondering. The highest scoring was 2020 by about a half a point. Passing yards are down. Punting has become less common, and I don't know if the NFL is a better product this year, but the kickoff has changed the game more than we thought it might. And the Colts, being the first team to succeed after having a legit quarterback competition, unexpected. We did an entire Daniel Jones video already, but this continues to be the thing that everyone is most surprised by. It's not just that Indiana is playing like a top 5 QB or that the Colts have the highest scoring offense in the NFL. It's that we had written off the head coach in Shane Steichen, their 4th overall pick at QB, and their entire organization. And it got even worse after their owner, Jim Irsay, tragically passed away. Last December, the Colts' biggest fan, Pat McAfee, tweeted that a blind person could see the red flags on the Colts team. He had a war of words with the Colts players through his platform, which painted the Colts as needing a complete house cleaning. And Pat does this funny thing where he'll shit all over something and then pretend like he didn't make the mess. And people side with him as well. I wish to God I had that power, Pat. Teach me your ways. Someone as connected as Pat is to that team, though, made me think he was right and that Indy would be a dumpster fire this season. One of the great cliches in the NFL is that if you have 2 quarterbacks competing for the job, you really don't have any quarterbacks. Well, Indy just proved us wrong. And we learned Daniel Jones wasn't a flash in the pan, money-stealing, snake oil salesman, fraudster of a QB. The most improbable thing a sports team can achieve is proving a cliche wrong. Jones escaped a bad situation, reset his brain, and is in the process of earning himself, yes, another big contract, and we will crucify the Colts if they don't pay Daniel Jones.
Will you just pay the man?
More puzzling is the situation he left in New York also improving via the whitest kids you know.
All right, follow-up question. Are you us?
Jackson Dart has a 2-to-1 TD to pick ratio at QB, while Cam Skattebo is a menace at the goal line, scoring 3 touchdowns against Philadelphia, becoming the first Giants rookie to pull a hat trick since Charlie Evans in 1971. Every year brings something new, surprising, maybe even shocking.
It was shocking to me.
As illustrated by Jonathan Gannon, when he reminded us in his press conference
how to take the emotion out of coaching.
2007, when our quarterback went to jail.
That was him referencing the Mike Vick situation in Gannon's first year in the league, coaching as a defensive quality control guy with the Falcons. Interesting reference considering Kyler Murray took a photo in a Vick jersey while holding a dog earlier this year. One of the few unsurprising things about this season is the Cardinals are still a mess. And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. Thank you for being one of the very few unsurprising things in 2025, Arizona. Now, there are no clear number one teams in the AFC or NFC. We always have 2 to 3 teams at this point that look like top dogs. Right now, everyone looks more like top ramen. The NFL didn't have any undefeated teams at the conclusion of Week 5. That has also only happened 3 other times, 2014 and 2010. The earliest every team has ever lost dates all the way back to 1970, and that happened Week 5. The standings say the Colts are the best team in the AFC while the Buccaneers lead the entire NFC. I don't think anyone saw that coming, and until the Colts play better opponents, I don't even know if that's true. If anyone did predict this, we must study their brain. Now, that's not to say the Bills and Chiefs don't end up atop the conference by the end of the season, but those two teams have exhibited some clear deficiencies that would suggest this is not just a blip on the radar. Even KC's win against the Lions isn't as good as it appears on paper. Detroit was without 4 starting corners and had a touchdown taken away because the league office phoned in the obscure rules to the on-field refs. Yep, another goddamn first, but that checks out considering it's the Lions and the refs really hate the Lions. I'm not saying the ruling is wrong either. I'm saying the way it happened is unprecedented. The Chiefs can no longer trust their kicker to do anything but send field goals wide left, while the Bills are dead last in yards per carry allowed. Sadly, I trust the Chiefs more to break through in the second half of the season, but their proficiency in one-score games has been evening out in 2025. The point being, it's a wide open season. They say dynasties are good for sports, but I think we've all got a little fatigue, at least in the AFC, and a shakeup would be like a cold glass of water on a hot day. KC's been in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Football fans deserve something else, even if it ends up being Daniel Jones versus Sam Darnold. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. That is how we succeed here. That is how I become the next unlikely story. The guy who got 10 billion subscribers talking about football. I mean, that would be Tom Grossi, but hey, maybe I can shock the world.
It was shocking to me.